All right, shalawam. First off, I want to say all praises to Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi, bahasham Quadash. Double honors to our apostles, elders of GMS, to the elect, doing work in sincerity and truth. Shalawam. This is GMS Precepts, Nazar Khad here. And real quick, I got two articles here, both of them from Newsweek.com. Right, the first article is Americans don't want to fight for their country anymore. Um, both articles are related. The other article is Russia's nuclear weapons move sparks NATO fears, right? So let's tackle this first article here. It says Americans don't want to fight for their country anymore, right? This is the reason why um, there's soon going to be a draft, right? Now it's been a dip in the recruits in the recruitment as far as the military, right? America is finding it very difficult to draft people. A lot of it has to do with how the this generation is being raised. A lot of them are just to put it plainly, a bunch of softies, you know. And this is a product of how this society is being run. It's raising a bunch of soft children, which will be soft adults, right? So let's just read this. It says a majority of American adults would not be willing to serve in the military, where the U.S. in the military were the U.S. to enter a major war. Recent polling has found public confidence in the armed forces appear to be waning. The figures come as all branches of the armed forces have in recent years struggled to meet their recruitment targets, suggesting a growth of apathy towards a career of military service. In 2023, the Army and Air Force fell short of their respective goals by 10,000 recruits, while the Navy was under 6,000. In 1987, the number of active duty personnel has fallen. I'm sorry, since 1987, the active duty personnel has fallen 39%. So this is why this is and we know if if you have some eyes and you're not moved by your emotions, and you see what's going on in the world today, you can see that a war is brewing. And even this situation in the Middle East, it can very easily turn into a bigger war where other nations jump in, and it can easily turn into a world war, right? Because you got America now, they're participating in a proxy war with Iran. America, the U.S. recently, a few days ago, well, for the past few weeks, they've been uh, uh, allegedly bombing Iranian targets in Syria. That's going to come to a head. Iran is going to actually, they're going to get involved, and once they get involved, they get, and we know who backs Iran. The nation that backs Iran is Russia. So this can easily, and obviously that whole Israel Gaza situation that can blow up very, very quickly. So which it already is, right? Because you have a lot of nations that are aligning with their allies, right? So this can easily. So if it can be. Oh, look at that. Look at the comments on here. The number. So it can easily grow into a bigger situation. So um um yeah, and I know somebody that was told. I know somebody, not personally, but that's in the military, and they were told that they're gonna be shipped off to the Middle East in January, right? Which is just a few months, right? Right now we're in November, the 10th of November, right? This is articles as of today. Right now we're at the 10th of November, so that's a month and a few weeks, right? Boom, January 1st. So what do they know that we don't know? Why January? Why are they being shipped off in January? And you know what? That person might not come back. But they're gonna have to do a draft, because if they know a war is coming, and the numbers in the military or active duty since 1987 has fallen 39%, they're gonna have to do something, You see, and we know this situation, and this is the other article I'm gonna bring out, and same website, Russia's from Newsweek.com. It says Russia's nuclear weapons move sparks NATO fears. Right. So this article is, I'll leave these in the description. Basically, this article is saying how Russia is backing out of these nuclear treaties. You see, it says criticizing. Stoltenberg made comments during the Berlin press conference held after he met with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Uh, in criticizing Russia, NATO chief cited Putin's move earlier this year to terminate Russia's participation in a new strategic arms reduction treaty, nicknamed START, which was the last remaining nuclear arms agreement between United States and Russia. And then it goes on to say it blamed Russia for once again ending the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, INF, and another one, the Treaty of Conventional Armed Forces, CFE, in Europe, which they dropped out of last week. It says Russia continues to undermine security in Europe with such decisions, right? So this is all leading, so whether this is true or not, right? Because we know how they use propaganda and public relations, they use that to steer the public to fall in line with their idea, because they definitely want war with Russia. They see Russia as the enemy. They see Russia as a threat. Putin, when he came into office, it was said that he actually wanted to join NATO, but which makes sense because they're neighboring with a lot of these European, these European nations, and it would make sense if he joined NATO because he would be able to, do a lot of business with them. They have a lot of natural gas pipelines and all this when he first came in office in 2000, but America wasn't with that, right? That would be against America's interest because they want Europe to be able to do business with them instead of Russia. So Putin knew that it was obvious that he wasn't going to be able to join NATO, and that that there were always going to be contention between the two sides, meaning Russia, NATO, as well as America, right? Right. So basically, but this all aligns with the scriptures, with prophecy, right? Because prophecy speaks about World War III, and how the Most High is putting the Spirit on these nations to, to start a war. You see, and that's what's happening, right? So let me get I'll get this one, Isaiah 13, right? Right, and there will be a draft, or there has to be a draft. If all roads lead to World War III, there's going to have to be a draft. If the active duty personnel fell by 39%, they're going to need some bodies. You see, I think Russia right now, they have the largest standing army as far as men, or bodies. They have the most people. Why? Because they got the most motherfuckers over there. Let me get Isaiah 13. Right? What is it? Isaiah 13:4. It says, "The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together." Right? The kingdoms of nations gathered together. That's speaking about that Third World War, man. Right? Because war, it's a lot of loud noise. You got bombs dropping. You got tanks, rolling over shit, shooting this, shooting that. You got foot soldiers on the ground also. Like, war is very violent, and it's very loud, right? It says a tumultuous noise of what the kingdoms of nations gathered together in that one place. In the Lord of in the scripture referred to as Jehoshaphat, right? Which in the Hebrew Lashon Kodash is Yahawah, which means the Lord's judgment. Okay, and it says here, the Lord, what? The Lord mustereth, the Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. So it's the Most High that's doing it, man. He's allowing all these countries, all these nations, all the kingdoms of nations to join in one place to partake in that third world war, because World War III must take place prior to the Lord's return. You see, all roads lead to the Lord's return. See, Matthew 24 speaks about that, but it says, let me get that now in on that. Matthew 24, right? And this is a scripture that, especially nowadays, especially nowadays, because this scripture, this prophecy is so relevant. We're getting so much closer and closer to this day actually happening. This scripture, comes out a lot. And I might, at camp, I might go over this every camp, right? I'll go to 6. Matthew 24:6. It says, "Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So there's going to be wars and rumors of wars. That's what I'm saying. Like, everybody knows this scripture, even if you're not in the church, even if you call yourself an atheist, even if you were in a church and you fell out and you don't believe in the scriptures anymore, but you know the prophecy like, people understand the concept of the Lord returning and the end of days and the end of the world. They call it the end of the world, but it's really just an end of a time period or a rulership, right? But people understand the concept of the Lord returning, right? And they know in the scriptures, in the Bible, it speaks about there's in the end days there's going to be wars and rumors of wars. That's why when you turn on the news and they say, "Man, this is like biblical, man," this is like, people that have no concept, like don't believe, have no concept or belief in the Most High and His Son. They say, "Oh man, is the Lord coming back? It's the end of the world," right? People know this, man. Right? It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled." See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Okay? So, even though you see these in news, the end is not yet. Because what's the other major prophecy that has to happen? The MOTB, the CHIP, that has to take place. That has to be fully implemented. That's Revelation 13th chapter, and that's not here yet, right? So let's say World War III starts off in January, let's say. If the chip isn't here yet, the scriptures say right here, but the end is not yet. Right? That's the next major piece. The CHIP in this war right here, which you can pretty much say we're already, it's brewing. It's like if you're making stew, or if you're boiling water and you turn the heat on, it doesn't get hot right away, but it slowly gets hot. It's gradual. You see? And it gets hot until pretty soon it's going to reach its boiling point, man. All right, so like I said, quick review. Russia, they're making other nations nervous by leaving the all these treaties. So that's another scripture. You know what? I'll end it on that. Is it Is it 2 Thessalonians 5? I think it's 2 Thessalonians 5. Why is it? I'm sorry, it might be first. Yeah, right? It's 2 Thessalonians. Yeah. I'll end it on this. 1 Thessalonians 5:1. "But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night." Right? And we know the day of the Lord is what? The day of the Lord is speaking about when the Lord returns. Right? How the Lord is going to return is going to come. It's gonna take a lot of people by surprise. Right? But it shouldn't take us by surprise, because we're constantly reading and diligently searching these scriptures for prophecy. You see, every day I turn on the news, in the group chats that I'm in with brothers, all you see is articles, linking those articles to these scriptures, man, because that's what we're waiting for, right? It says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape," right? So it says, even though they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall cometh upon them. So all this peace treaty shit, all this treaty this, treaty that. According to prophecy, there's not going to be any peace. You see, there's not going to be any treaties going down. All right. It's all roads are gonna lead to, as the saying, all roads lead to Rome. All roads are gonna lead to World War III, right? So I'll leave these articles in the description box. So when you brothers and sisters were edified, until the next show, shalom.